Before anyone comments, I do really like Mario Kart World's roster. I think it's cool that they're adding so many wacky and interesting picks, and I'm definitely going to be maining Pianta. But I think the logic that they had to come to this decision was kind of flawed, and this regards the recent interview, which has a lot of interesting things that they brought up about the development of Mario Kart World, like how long it took, the fact that it was originally going to be a Switch 1 game. But there were some things that they mentioned about the roster that were kind of interesting and kind of weird. But before we get started, I wanted to mention that I have a goal to hit 30,000 subscribers before the Nintendo Switch 2 launches. Less than 2 weeks away, so definitely consider subscribing if you enjoy this content. And if I hit that goal, I will give away a copy of Mario Kart World. Let's get right to the point here. In the part of the interview where they were talking about Cal being added as a playable character, they mentioned each new Mario Kart game features new characters to race with, but since we added so many to the previous game, we wondered where we could go from there. This might not sound like anything that interesting at first, but to me, this kind of seems like they ran out of ideas after 8. I mean, that might be a bit extreme of a thing to say, but saying that they didn't really know where to go after 8's roster, which was kind of lackluster and had a lot of characters that were highly requested, it's just weird that they were saying they didn't know where to go next. There are so many characters that they could add. Like, they are far from running out of ideas. Like, there is a vast amount of characters in the Mario franchise. Like 3D Mario and Wonder, or just the mainline Mario games in general, have so much untapped potential. Like Cappy, Talking Flower, the Broodals, Toast Rainins, Poplin, Lubba. So many interesting characters there that they could have chosen from. And then also so many other series as well, like Luigi's Mansion has Egad, Helen Gravely, Luigi, Polterpup. The Donkey Kong franchise has Cranky, K. Rool, and so many of the other Kongs. The Wario franchise has Ashley, Dribble and Spitz, Mona, Jimmy T, Captain Syrup. And the RPGs, the series that I go on about and am kind of annoying about, has Vivian, Gubella, Connie, Gino, Mallow, Starlo, Boffle, Count Black, just so many interesting characters that they could have chosen from. So we were far from them running out of ideas. So it's kind of weird that they really didn't think to add any of these interesting or highly requested characters. I do think that NPC character approach is interesting, but I feel like that really should have been supplemented along with these extended Mario Universe reps. And it's just weird in general that they didn't consider them, and it just raises a few questions, like, why did they not consider these characters? It's not like the Mario Kart devs aren't aware of these games. Mario Kart World references Wario Land and WarioWare in the soundtrack. Like, just recently we found out that Drifting Away from the original WarioWare is getting a remix. And then also, Frost Piranhas from the Paper Mario series are appearing, and there's even like other little things referencing the RPGs there. And then past Mario Kart games reference Luigi's Mansion. I mean, there's a whole track based on Luigi's Mansion, and also a battle course as well. So they are definitely aware that these characters exist. So it's weird that they just didn't consider them. And they could think that these characters are not viable or not popular enough, but I feel like that logic falls apart when you look at some of the newcomers that are being added. Like, I barely saw anyone, even Mario fans, talk about Cataquacks or Conkdors before they were added to Mario Kart World. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like these characters, I love that Cataquack is being added, but I really haven't seen that many Mario fans talk about these characters. Like, honestly, I've seen more people talk about Vivian from Paper Mario than half of these newcomers, I would say. I mean, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it seems to me that a lot of these characters are pretty popular in the fan base, I would say, and would probably be about as popular as some of these new characters that they're adding. So I just think it's kind of weird if they had that logic that these characters aren't popular enough or wouldn't resonate with fans enough or audiences. So I don't really think that should be too much of a factor that they consider when making these characters. I mean, of course, there is like a little bit of that. Like they have to think how appealing a character is, but I don't think any of these like characters that I mentioned earlier in the video are really like unappealing at all, and I think they could easily work in Mario Kart. And then there's also like the sentiment that maybe they could only use in-house or EPD or formerly EAD characters, which would be a dumb limitation because several Mario Kart veterans like Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Waluigi, Baby Peach originated in games that were developed by other developers, like outside of Nintendo, like second-party studios or different developers that Nintendo was working with. So I just think it's kind of weird there. And then even then, there are multiple references to games not developed by EPD or EAD in Mario Kart World. So I don't like a lot of the references that I was mentioning previously. So I just think that's kind of weird as well. So if they're going to reference them, why not add characters from those series? And then finally, it also wouldn't explain the lack of Odyssey or Wonder characters or just 3D Mario and mainline characters in general. I think it's kind of weird that they, I mean, I guess you could have the logic like, oh, maybe EAD or EPD nowadays, Tokyo, wouldn't count or something, but that would be stupid, because like that literally is a part of EPD at that point. And they reference Odyssey in the game, so I just think that would be weird if they had like that certain studio they couldn't reference that. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And then Wonder is also developed in-house as well, like actually like. So I just think that would be kind of weird to exclude that. And I think the Mario Kart devs have also had issues creating characters in the past. Like, of course, the famous example, Pinkle Peach, was added because they wanted to add a heavyweight female character in Mario Kart 8, even though there were plenty of characters to choose from. I mean, it may not be immediately obvious, but, like, maybe they could add, like, Madame Flurry or something like that. Like, there's a lot of characters that they could choose from. You just have to dig into the franchise a little bit and think of some interesting characters. Back then, they would rather make a creatively bankrupt clone to fill a gap than rather actually putting in the vast selection of Mario characters. Honestly, at that point with Pinkle and Peach, I would have even preferred a completely original character over that. So I just think it's kind of weird that they like had that logic in the past. And back then, it seemed like they had a more rigid vision of how they wanted the roster to look. It seemed like they wanted more standard characters, but they don't really have that excuse anymore. They can't really hold back now that they kind of opened the floodgates with these like new wackier characters like Cow and Pianta. So at this point, it just seems like anything is possible, but they're just kind of still holding back in some areas. It's just kind of weird. But on the other hand, even though their logic kind of seems to be flawed about these characters, I do think there is a silver lining to these wacky newcomers. They are at least allowing for more interesting characters onto the roster, rather than making clones like they did in Mario Kart 8, or filling up the roster with non-Mario characters, like that Nintendo Kart idea that a lot of fans like to push for some reason. But they're actually Mario characters, they're actually interesting characters. Like I was saying, like Pianta, Cataquack, those are really cool additions. Like very obscure, interesting. I know Pianta isn't that obscure, but I feel like Pianta is kind of like a 2000s coded Mario character, like a character that didn't really appear that much in that kind of sterile era of Mario in the 2010s, or even kind of when the franchise was recovering in the Switch era. We didn't really see Pianta that much in the Switch era, so it's still cool that we're getting characters like that there. And I feel like these new characters, on top of all the references, may actually ease the developers into adding some of these more interesting extended Mario Universe characters. Like, I think this is kind of like the gateway to those characters. Like, this is like the next logical step after these characters. Like, if they're gonna do DLC or characters for the next game, like, they're gonna have to do it at some point. Like, they were saying, like, oh, they don't know what to do next. Like, they did the clones, they did the wacky, like, NPC and obstacle picks. Now it's time to do extended Mario Universe characters. Either if it's through DLC or, like, later down the line in the new game. At this point, they really have no excuse. They kind of have to go in that direction now. But yeah, even though I do like Mario Kart World's roster, and I do like the idea of these wacky, like, kind of NPC obstacle picks, I think that is cool, but I just think the way that they kind of came to that conclusion to do these NPC drivers was a little flawed, because I feel like ideally they should have done these characters alongside new interesting picks, like from Luigi's Mansion, Donkey Kong Country, Wario and the RPGs, and like 3D Mario. I think they could have done that alongside this. So yeah, that's just kind of my take on it. Let me know what your thoughts are about this down in the comments. And anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!